Minjun Park sat in the back seat of his family's car, staring out the window at the trees rushing past. He was 12 years old and today was supposed to be special. It was his birthday weekend, and his parents had planned a camping trip to Big Bear Lake in California. Minjun should have been excited, but instead his stomach felt tight with worry. He had always been a nervous kid. Dark places made him uncomfortable. Strange sounds made him jump. His older sister Jiwon said he worried too much about everything. She was 15 and never seemed afraid of anything. Right now she sat next to him with her headphones on, nodding her head to music Minjun could not hear. Their father drove the car while their mother looked at a map on her phone. Minjun's father was a quiet man who loved nature. He worked in an office all week, but on weekends he wanted to be outside. Minjun's mother was more like him. She liked being prepared for everything. She had packed 3 first aid kits for their 2-night trip. "Minjun, are you excited?" his mother asked, turning around in her seat to look at him. Minjun tried to smile. "Yes, Mom." "You don't look excited," Jiwon said, pulling one headphone off her ear. "You look like we're driving to the dentist." "Jiwon, be nice to your brother," their father said firmly. "It's his birthday weekend." Jiwon rolled her eyes but said nothing more. She put her headphone back on and looked out her own window. Minjun reached into his pocket and felt his phone. He had charged it fully that morning. His father had suggested leaving it at home. "We should disconnect from technology," his father had said at breakfast. "Enjoy nature without screens." But Minjun's mother had disagreed. "Let him bring it," she had said quietly. "Just for emergencies. It makes him feel safer." Minjun was grateful his mother understood. The phone in his pocket felt like a friend. He knew it was silly, but holding it made him feel less alone. The car climbed higher into the mountains. The air grew cooler. Through the window, Minjun could see pine trees everywhere. They were tall and dark green, standing close together like soldiers. The sky above was bright blue with only a few white clouds. After 2 more hours of driving, they reached Big Bear Lake. The lake was huge and beautiful. Sunlight sparkled on the water like diamonds. Other families were already there, setting up tents and starting campfires. Children ran around laughing and playing. Dogs barked happily. Minjun's father parked the car in a spot near the hiking trails. "Here we are," he announced cheerfully. "Our home for the next 2 nights." They all got out of the car and stretched. The mountain air smelled fresh and clean, like pine needles and earth. Minjun took a deep breath. Maybe this would not be so bad after all. His father opened the trunk and started pulling out camping gear. There were 2 tents, sleeping bags, a cooler full of food, chairs, and a large backpack filled with supplies. Minjun helped carry the lighter items while his father and Jiwon handled the heavier equipment. They found a good camping spot not too far from other families. Minjun felt better knowing other people were nearby. His father said they would camp here, close to a popular hiking trail. Many people used this trail, so it was safe and well marked. Setting up the tents took longer than expected. Minjun's father read the instructions while his mother held the poles. Jiwon complained about everything. "This is so boring," she muttered. "We could be at the mall right now." "The mall will still be there on Monday," their mother replied patiently. "Help your father with that corner." Minjun tried to help, but mostly he just watched. He was not very good at building things. His hands felt clumsy with the tent stakes and ropes, but nobody seemed to mind. His father just smiled and showed him how to hammer the stakes into the ground properly. By late afternoon, both tents stood proudly in their camping spot. One tent was for Minjun's parents and the other was for Minjun and Jiwon. Inside the tents, they rolled out sleeping bags and arranged their belongings. Minjun's mother made sandwiches for lunch. They sat on folding chairs and ate while watching the lake. The water was so calm it looked like glass. Birds flew overhead, calling to each other in voices Minjun did not recognize. "Tomorrow morning we will go for a nature walk," Minjun's father announced. "There is a beautiful trail just past those trees. It is easy and safe, perfect for families." "How long is the walk?" Minjun asked. "About 2 hours," his father replied. "Maybe less if we move quickly. We will see wildflowers and maybe some deer." Minjun nodded. 2 hours did not sound too bad. As long as they stayed together, he would be fine. After lunch, they explored the camping area. They walked down to the lake and threw rocks into the water. Jiwon found a stick and drew pictures in the dirt. Minjun collected interesting stones and put them in his pockets. Other campers waved hello as they passed. An older couple was fishing from the shore. A family with young twins was building a sandcastle near the water. Everyone seemed happy and relaxed. As the sun began to set, the sky turned beautiful colors. First pink, then orange, then deep purple. Minjun had never seen a sunset like this in the city. The colors reflected on the lake, making everything glow. Minjun's father built a campfire while his mother prepared dinner. They cooked hot dogs on sticks over the flames. The hot dogs tasted better than any Minjun had eaten at home. Maybe it was the mountain air, or maybe it was the fire, but everything seemed more delicious. After dinner, they roasted marshmallows. Jiwon made fun of Minjun when his marshmallow caught fire and turned completely black. But she laughed in a nice way, not a mean way. Even their father's marshmallow fell off the stick into the fire and everyone giggled. As darkness fell completely, the campfire became their only light. Stars appeared in the sky above, more stars than Minjun had ever seen. His father pointed out constellations and told stories about them. His mother wrapped a blanket around Minjun's shoulders to keep him warm. "Are you having a good birthday weekend?" his mother asked softly. Minjun realized he was. Despite his earlier worries, he felt happy, safe. "Yes, Mom, this is nice. I'm proud of you," she whispered. "I know being somewhere new makes you nervous, but you're doing great." Minjun smiled in the darkness. His mother always knew how he felt. Eventually, the fire burned low and everyone grew tired. They brushed their teeth using water from bottles and prepared for bed. Minjun's father made sure the food was locked in the car so animals would not come near their tents during the night. Inside the tent, Minjun climbed into his sleeping bag. Jiwon was already in hers, texting friends on her phone. The sleeping bag was warm and comfortable. Through the tent walls, Minjun could hear other families talking quietly, and the sound of the wind in the trees. He reached under his sleeping bag and pulled out his phone. The battery showed 98%. He had barely used it all day. He set it next to his pillow just in case he needed it during the night. "Still scared of the dark?" Jiwon asked. Her voice was not teasing, just curious. "A little," Minjun admitted. "That's okay," Jiwon said, surprising him. "Everyone is scared of something." She turned off her phone and settled into her sleeping bag. Within minutes, her breathing became slow and steady. She was asleep. Minjun lay awake a bit longer, listening to the night sounds. An owl called somewhere in the distance. The wind rustled through the pine trees. His parents talked quietly in their tent nearby. He felt proud of himself. He had made it through the first day. Tomorrow they would go on the nature walk, and then they would have one more night of camping. Then they would go home. He could do this. Minjun closed his eyes, his hand resting on his phone. The mountain air was cool and fresh. The sleeping bag was warm. He felt safe. He had no idea that tomorrow would change everything. He had no idea that his phone would become more than just a comfort. He had no idea that a simple nature walk would turn into something he would remember for the rest of his life. But tonight he just felt peaceful. Tonight he was just a 12-year-old boy on a camping trip with his family. Tonight everything was okay. Minjun drifted off to sleep, dreaming of stars and campfires and the beautiful lake that sparkled in the sun. Morning came with bright sunshine streaming through the tent. Minjun woke up to the sound of birds singing and his sister's alarm beeping. He rubbed his eyes and stretched. His sleeping bag had twisted around him during the night, but he had slept better than he expected. "Wake up, sleepyhead," Jiwon said, already pulling on her shoes. "Dad wants to start the nature walk early." Minjun quickly got dressed and crawled out of the tent. The morning air was cool and fresh. Dew covered the grass, making everything sparkle. His mother was cooking eggs and bacon on a small camping stove. The smell made his stomach growl with hunger. "Good morning, birthday boy," his father called out. He was rolling up ropes and organizing their camping equipment. "Ready for our hike?" Minjun nodded, though butterflies danced in his stomach. He was nervous about the walk, but he did not want to say so. Everyone seemed excited, and he did not want to ruin the mood. They ate breakfast together, sitting on their folding chairs. The eggs were a little burnt on the bottom, but nobody complained. Minjun drank orange juice from a small carton and ate 2 pieces of bacon. He needed energy for the walk ahead. After breakfast, they cleaned up and prepared for the hike. Minjun's mother filled water bottles for everyone. His father checked the trail map on a sign near their campsite. Jiwon complained about having to walk, but their parents ignored her complaints. "The trail is marked with blue signs," Minjun's father explained, pointing at the map. We follow the blue sign, stay on the path, and we will see some beautiful nature. Easy. Minjun's mother put sunscreen on everyone's face even though Jiwon protested. She also gave each person a granola bar to keep in their pocket. Just in case we get hungry, she said. Minjun checked his phone before they left. The battery was at 95%. He had used it briefly to check the time. There was no cell service here in the mountains, but he still felt better having it with him. He slipped it into his front pocket and zipped the pocket shut. They started walking at 9 o'clock in the morning. The trail began near their campsite and led into the forest. Other families were also starting their morning hikes. Everyone waved and said good morning to each other. The path was wide and flat at first. Tall pine trees lined both sides, creating shade from the sun. Wildflowers grew beside the trail in patches of yellow, purple, and white. Minjun's father stopped often to point out different plants and tell them what they were called. That is Indian paintbrush, he said, pointing at a red flower. And those purple ones are lupines. Jiwon walked ahead with her phone, trying to take pictures even though she had no internet to post them. Minjun's mother walked slowly, enjoying the scenery. She stopped to look at butterflies and interesting rocks. Minjun walked in the middle, trying to keep everyone in sight. The forest was beautiful, but also a little scary. The trees were so tall and so many, they blocked out much of the sky. Strange sounds came from the woods. Birds called, branches cracked, and sometimes he heard rustling in the bushes. After about 30 minutes of walking, the trail started going uphill. It became narrower and rockier. Everyone slowed down, breathing harder as they climbed. Minjun's legs began to ache, but he kept going. His father led the way, sometimes calling back to make sure everyone was keeping up. His mother was right behind Minjun's father, moving steadily. Jiwon was somewhere ahead of Minjun, and he could see her back as she walked, but Minjun kept getting distracted. He noticed a really interesting rock formation off to the side of the path. The rocks were stacked in a weird way, almost like stairs. He stopped to look at them closer, taking his phone out to snap a picture. Then he saw something shiny on the ground. It looked like a piece of quartz crystal. Minjun picked it up and examined it in the sunlight. It was beautiful, with clear and white parts that sparkled. He put it in his pocket with his other rocks. A lizard ran across the path in front of him. Minjun watched it disappear into the bushes. He stood there for a moment, listening to the sounds of the forest. Everything seemed so alive and interesting. When Minjun looked up, he could not see his family anymore. They had walked ahead while he was distracted. He was not worried at first. The trail was clear and he just needed to catch up. He started walking faster, his shoes crunching on the dirt and gravel. He walked for 5 minutes, then 10. He should have caught up to them by now. Minjun started walking even faster, almost jogging. Where were they? The path curved around a big tree and Minjun hurried around it. That was when he saw it. The path split into 2 directions. There was a fork in the trail. Minjun stopped, his heart starting to beat faster. Which way had his family gone? He looked at both paths. They looked almost the same. Both were dirt trails leading into the forest. Both had trees on either side. He tried to remember if his father had said anything about a fork in the path. But Minjun had not been paying attention. He had been looking at rocks and lizards instead of watching where they were going. Minjun chose the path on the right. It looked slightly wider, so he thought more people probably used it. He walked quickly, calling out as he went, "Mom, Dad, G1." No one answered. Minjun walked faster, his worry growing. The path seemed to go on forever. It twisted and turned through the trees. Sometimes it went uphill, sometimes downhill, but he saw no sign of his family. After 20 minutes of walking, Minjun stopped. His heart was pounding now, and not just from the exercise. Something was wrong. This did not feel like the main trail anymore. The path was narrower here. Fewer people seemed to walk this way. There were no blue trail markers like his father had mentioned. Minjun turned around and tried to go back. But everything looked different from this direction. Had he passed that bent tree before? Did he come around that big rock? He could not remember. He walked back the way he thought he had come, but nothing looked familiar. The forest all looked the same. Trees and more trees. Rocks and more rocks. The path seemed to split again in places, or maybe it just looked that way. Panic started to rise in Minjun's chest. He stopped walking and took deep breaths, trying to calm down. His mother had taught him to breathe slowly when he felt anxious. In through the nose, out through the mouth. He did this several times. When he felt a little calmer, Min-jun reached for his phone. He would just call his parents. Simple. Everything would be okay. He turned on his phone and looked at the screen. No signal, 0 bars. He tried calling anyway, but the call would not go through. He tried texting, but the message would not send. The phone was useless here in the mountains. Min-jun felt tears starting to form in his eyes, but he blinked them away. Crying would not help. He needed to think. What should he do? He remembered watching a survival video once on the internet. The man in the video said that if you get lost, you should stay in one place. Do not keep wandering around because that makes it harder for people to find you. Stay put and wait for help. Min-jun looked around for a good spot to wait. He saw a small clearing just off the path. It was a flat area surrounded by trees with some large rocks. It seemed like a good place. If someone came looking for him, they might see him there. He walked into the clearing and sat down on one of the rocks. He checked his phone again. Still no signal. The battery showed 89%. At least he had plenty of power, even if he could not call anyone. Min-jun tried to think positive thoughts. His family would notice he was missing soon. They would come back looking for him. Other hikers might come by and help him find his way back. Everything would be okay. But the forest seemed very quiet now. He had not seen or heard another person in a long time. The sun was high in the sky, which meant it was probably around noon. He had been lost for maybe 2 hours. Min-jun's stomach growled. He remembered the granola bar his mother had given him. He took it out of his pocket and ate it slowly, trying to make it last. The chocolate chips in the bar had melted a little from being in his warm pocket, but it still tasted good. After eating, he felt a bit better. He had food in his stomach. He had water in his bottle. He was not hurt. He just needed to wait. Someone would find him. Time passed slowly. Min-jun watched shadows move across the clearing as the sun traveled across the sky. He saw squirrels running up and down trees. He heard birds singing their afternoon songs. Once he thought he heard voices in the distance, but when he called out, no one responded. The afternoon dragged on. Min-jun's worry grew stronger. What if nobody found him? What if he had to spend the night out here alone? His chest felt tight again and his breathing got faster. He stood up and paced around the clearing, trying to use up his nervous energy. He counted his steps. He examined every tree and rock around him. He did anything to keep his mind busy. As the sun moved lower in the sky, the shadows grew longer. The forest started to look different in the afternoon light. Darker, more mysterious. Min-jun checked the time on his phone. 4:30 in the afternoon. He had been lost for more than 7 hours. Fear crept through him like cold water. What if they did not find him before dark? What if he really did have to spend the night out here? He was not prepared for that. He had no tent, no sleeping bag, no flashlight. Just his phone and the clothes he was wearing. Min-jun sat back down on the rock, hugging his knees to his chest. He tried to remember everything he knew about survival. Stay calm, S. Min-jun stood up from the rock and looked around the clearing. The sun was getting lower, and the light was changing from bright gold to soft orange. Soon it would be evening, then night. He needed to act now while he still had some daylight. He pulled out his phone and found the flashlight function. He had used it many times at home when looking for things under his bed or in dark closets. But he had never used it for something this important. His hands shook a little as he turned it on. The flashlight beam was bright and strong. Even in the afternoon light, it created a clear spot of white light wherever he pointed it. Good. This might actually work, but Min-jun realized he was not sure exactly how to do the SOS signal. He remembered it was 3 short flashes, 3 long flashes, and 3 short flashes again. But how long was a long flash? How short was a short flash? He tried to remember the video more clearly. The man had tapped out the pattern with his fingers while explaining it. Short flashes were quick, like blinking. Long flashes were held for about 3 seconds. Then you waited a few seconds before starting the pattern again. Min-jun practiced a few times without actually using his phone. He tapped his finger against his leg. Tap, 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 tap. The rhythm felt right. He would do it the same way with his flashlight. He looked around the clearing for the best place to stand. There was a large, flat rock near the middle that was higher than the others. He climbed onto it carefully. From here, he was about 3 feet higher than the ground. Maybe that would help someone see his signal. Min-jun pointed his phone up toward the sky and started. 3 short flashes, click, 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 then 3 long flashes, holding the button down each time. Flash, 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 then 3 more short flashes, click, click, click. He waited 5 seconds and did it again. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. The pattern felt good in his hands. It gave him something to focus on. Something to do? He was not just sitting around waiting anymore. He was actively trying to get help. Min-jun kept going. He turned in a slow circle on the rock, pointing his light in all directions. Northeast, southwest. He did not know which direction people might be, so he tried them all. Someone might be on a hill above him. Someone might be on a trail nearby. Someone might see the light flashing through the trees. After 5 minutes, his arms started to get tired from holding the phone up. He switched arms and kept going. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short, turn, wait, repeat. The sun continued to sink lower. The shadows in the forest grew darker and longer. Birds that had been singing all day became quiet. The forest was preparing for night. Min-jun checked his phone battery. It had dropped to 72%. The flashlight used a lot of power. He wondered how long he could keep this up. Maybe an hour? Maybe 2? Then what would he do? He pushed those thoughts away and focused on the signal. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. Time passed. Min-jun's arms grew tired. He switched between hands every few minutes, giving each arm a rest. His legs hurt from standing on the rock for so long. His mouth felt dry, so he took a small sip from his water bottle. He needed to save water in case he really did have to spend the night out here. In the distance, he heard voices. His heart jumped with hope. He stopped signaling and listened hard. Yes, there were definitely voices. People talking and laughing. They sounded far away, but they were there. Help! Min-jun shouted as loud as he could. I'm here, help! He waited, listening. The voices continued for a moment, then faded away. They were moving in a different direction, away from him. They had not heard him. Min-jun felt disappointment wash over him like a wave. They had been so close. He had been so close to being rescued. But they were gone now. He started the signal again with new determination. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. Someone had to see this. Someone had to notice a bright light flashing in the forest. This would work. It had to work. The sky continued to change colors. Orange faded to pink, then to purple. The first stars began to appear. Min-jun had always thought stars were beautiful, but tonight they made him feel small and alone. The universe was so big, and he was just one small person lost in the woods. He blinked back tears and kept signaling. His mother would be so worried. His father would be searching everywhere. Even Jiwon was probably scared for him. He imagined them back at the campsite, organizing search parties, calling park rangers. They were looking for him. He knew they were. The battery on his phone dropped to 58%. Min-jun's heart sank. He was using power too fast. At this rate, the phone would die before anyone found him. Then he would have no light at all. Maybe he should stop for a while. Save the battery. But what if someone was out there right now, searching? What if they would see his light in the next few minutes if he just kept going? Min-jun made a decision. He would signal for 10 more minutes, then take a break. Give the battery a rest. Then start again. He checked the time. 6:15 in the evening. The sun had set, and true darkness was settling over the forest. He could barely see the trees around him now. The clearing had become a pool of shadows. Min-jun continued the pattern. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. His flashlight beam cut through the darkness like a knife. It was much more visible now than it had been in the daylight. If anyone was out there, they would see it for sure. He turned slowly on his rock, making a full circle every minute or so. Point the light north and signal. Point the light east and signal. Point the light south and signal. Point the light west and signal. Over and over again. The forest at night was full of sounds he had not noticed before. Things rustled in the bushes. Branches cracked. An owl hooted somewhere close by. Each sound made Min-jun jump a little. He tried not to think about what animals might be out there watching him. His phone showed 6:25. 5 more minutes, then he would take a break. Min-jun pointed his light toward the south and started the pattern again. 3 short flashes, and then he heard something different. Not voices this time. Not animals. Something bigger, heavier. Footsteps. Min-jun stopped signaling and froze. His heart hammered in his chest. The footsteps were coming closer. They were deliberate and steady. not like an animal running or wandering. They sounded like a person walking. But was it a person who would help him? Minjun had heard stories about dangerous people in the woods. What if it was someone bad? What if he was in more danger now than before? The footsteps grew louder. They were very close now, just beyond the edge of the clearing. Minjun's mind raced. Should he run? Should he hide? Should he call out? He decided to stay still and wait. He kept his flashlight on but pointed it down at the ground instead of up at the sky. His whole body was tense, ready to run if he needed to. The footsteps stopped at the edge of the clearing. Minjun could hear breathing. Someone was there, just in the shadows, looking at him. Hello? Minjun called out. His voice cracked with fear. Who's there? For a long moment, no one answered. The silence stretched out. Minjun's fear grew bigger and bigger. Then a voice came from the darkness. It was deep and calm. Hey there, buddy. Are you okay? The voice sounded kind, not dangerous. Minjun felt a tiny bit of relief. I'm lost, he said. I got separated from my family. I know, the voice said. I saw your SOS signal. That was really smart. The person stepped forward out of the shadows and into the small circle of light from Minjun's phone. Minjun looked up at the person's face and his jaw dropped open. He recognized that face immediately. Everyone in the world knew that face. The strong jaw, the kind eyes, the massive build. It was impossible. It could not be real. But it was. John Cena stood in front of him, wearing hiking clothes and carrying a large backpack. The famous wrestler and actor smiled down at Minjun with genuine concern in his eyes. You did everything right, John Cena said, walking closer, staying in one place, sending an SOS signal. You're a smart kid. Minjun could not speak. His brain could not process what was happening. He was lost in the woods, scared and alone, and John Cena had just walked out of the darkness. Was he dreaming? Had he hit his head and was imagining this? Are you hurt anywhere? Cena asked, kneeling down to Minjun's level. Can you walk okay? Minjun finally found his voice. I'm okay. I can walk. Are you? Are you really? Really, John Cena? The big man smiled wider. Yeah, I really am. And you are really going to be okay now, I promise. Cena shrugged off his backpack and opened it. He pulled out a water bottle and a protein bar. Here, he said, handing them to Minjun. You must be thirsty and hungry. When did you eat last? This morning, Minjun said, taking the water bottle with shaking hands. No, wait. I ate a granola bar at lunch. Good, Cena said. That was smart too, rationing your food. He sat down on a rock next to Minjun and pulled out his own phone. I have cell service from up on the ridge. I'm going to call the park rangers and let them know I found you. Minjun drank some water while Cena made the call. The water tasted amazing, cold and clean. He had not realized how thirsty he was until now. Yes, this is John Cena, he heard Cena say into the phone. I'm on the north side of the mountain, about 2 miles from the main trail. I found a lost kid. He's safe and uninjured. His name is... Cena looked at Minjun with raised eyebrows. Minjun, the boy said quietly. Minjun Park. Minjun sat on the rock, still trying to understand what was happening. John Cena was here. Actually here. Sitting next to him in the middle of the forest. It felt like a dream, but the protein bar in his hand was real. The water bottle was real. This was really happening. How long have you been lost? Cena asked. He spoke in a calm, friendly way that made Minjun feel safe. Since this morning, Minjun replied. Maybe around 10 o'clock. We were on a family hike and I got distracted looking at rocks. When I looked up, everyone was gone. Cena nodded. Easy to do on these trails. They twist and turn a lot, and when there's a fork in the path, it's hard to know which way people went. That's exactly what happened, Minjun said. There was a split in the trail and I picked the wrong way. Then I got more and more lost. But you stopped walking, Cena pointed out. You didn't keep wandering around making it worse. How did you know to do that? A survival video I watched online, Minjun admitted. The man said to stay in one place if you get lost. That way people can find you easier. Cena smiled broadly. That man was absolutely right. Wandering around is the worst thing you can do. Most people who get lost make that mistake, but not you. You remembered the right information and you used it. He reached out and gently bumped his fist against Minjun's shoulder. Seriously, kid. You should be proud of yourself. Minjun felt warmth spread through his chest. John Cena was proud of him. He wanted to tell his friends at school, but he knew they would never believe him. Can I ask you something? Minjun said shyly. Sure, anything. What are you doing out here? Don't famous people usually stay in hotels and stuff? Cena laughed. It was a big, genuine laugh that echoed through the clearing. Fair question. I'm preparing for a movie role. I play a soldier who has to survive in the wilderness. My trainer said I should do some real hiking and camping to understand what it feels like. So I've been out here for 3 days doing difficult trails, sleeping in a tent, the whole thing. By yourself? Minjun asked. Aren't you scared? Sometimes, Cena admitted. But scared is okay. Being scared means you respect the danger. It keeps you careful and smart. He pulled out his water bottle and took a drink. The key is not to let fear stop you from doing things. You use the fear to make you more prepared. Minjun thought about this. He was scared of so many things. Dark places, loud noises, being alone. His sister always made fun of him for it. But maybe Cena was right. Maybe fear was not always bad. I'm scared a lot, Minjun said quietly. My sister says I worry too much. Cena looked at him seriously. You want to know a secret? Minjun nodded. I was scared a lot when I was your age too, Cena said. Scared of bullies at school. Scared I wasn't strong enough. Scared I would never be good at anything. Fear is normal, Minjun. Every single person feels it. The brave people aren't the ones who never feel scared. They're the ones who feel scared but do what they need to do anyway. Is that what you did? Minjun asked. Every single day, Cena replied. I still do. Before every wrestling match, I feel nervous. Before every movie scene, I worry I'll mess it up. But I walk out there and do it anyway. And you know what? Most of the time, it turns out okay. Minjun felt like he understood something important. His fear did not make him weak. Even someone as big and strong and famous as John Cena felt scared sometimes. The difference was what you did with the fear. Today you felt scared, Cena continued. But you didn't fall apart. You made smart choices. You stayed calm enough to remember what you learned. You used your phone to signal for help. That's courage, Minjun. Real courage. Minjun felt tears start to form again, but this time they were different. Not scared tears. Something else. Relief maybe, or pride, or maybe just the feeling of being understood by someone who got it. Cena noticed and spoke gently. It's okay. Let it out if you need to. There's no shame in crying. They sat together in comfortable silence for a while. The night sounds of the forest surrounded them. Crickets chirped. The wind rustled leaves. Somewhere far away, an animal called out with a sound Minjun could not identify. Aren't you cold? Cena asked. The temperature drops fast up here at night. Minjun realized he was shivering a little. He had been so focused on everything else that he had not noticed. A little, he admitted. Cena opened his backpack again and pulled out a thin silver blanket. It looked like it was made of foil. Emergency blanket, he explained. Weighs almost nothing but keeps you really warm. He wrapped it around Minjun's shoulders. The blanket crackled as it moved, but it immediately started trapping Minjun's body heat. Within a minute, he felt much warmer. Thank you, he said, no problem. That's what it's there for. Cena pulled out his own jacket from the backpack and put it on. I always pack for emergencies when I hike. Extra food, extra water, emergency blanket, first aid kit, compass, flashlight. You never know what might happen. That's a lot of stuff, Minjun observed. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, Cena said. That's what my dad used to tell me. What else is in your backpack? Minjun asked. He was curious now. Cena smiled and started pulling things out, showing them to Minjun one by one. A proper flashlight that was much bigger than a phone light. A compass with glow-in-the-dark markings. A whistle for signaling. A small first aid kit with bandages and medicine. A fire starter in case he needed to make a fire quickly. A rope that could be used for many things. Energy bars and nuts for food. Water purification tablets. A small camping stove. A pocket knife with multiple tools. This is like a survival kit, Minjun said, impressed. That's exactly what it is, Cena agreed. When you go into nature, you have to respect it. Nature is beautiful but also dangerous. Having the right tools can save your life. Minjun looked at his own phone, still clutched in his hand. The battery was at 47% now. I only had my phone, he said. My dad said we should disconnect from technology on this trip. But my mom let me bring it. Your mom made a good call, Cena said. And you made a good call bringing it. That phone saved you tonight. Without it, I wouldn't have seen your signal. We might be sitting here until morning waiting for the search teams. That thought made Minjun shiver again, and not from cold. Hours more of sitting in the dark alone and scared. He was so lucky that Cena had been nearby. What were the chances? Out of all the mountains in California on all the possible trails, John Cena had been close enough to see his signal. "It's kind of a miracle you were here," Min-jun said softly. Cena considered this. Maybe it was just good timing. "I don't know if I believe in fate or destiny or any of that, but I'm really glad I was in the right place at the right time to help you." "Me too," Min-jun said. They heard sounds in the distance, voices calling out, lights moving through the trees. The rescue team was getting close. "Here," Cena shouted, his deep voice carrying through the forest. "We're in the clearing. We have the boy. Min-jun," a woman's voice screamed. It was his mother. "Min-jun, Mom." Min-jun jumped off the rock and started running toward the voice. "Wait," Cena said firmly, reaching out to stop him gently. "Stay here. Let them come to us. You might trip in the dark and hurt yourself." Min-jun stopped, but he bounced on his toes with excitement and relief. His mother was here. His family was here. Everything was going to be okay. Flashlight beams swept across the clearing. A group of people emerged from the trees. Park rangers in uniform led the way, followed by Min-jun's parents and his sister. His mother saw him and ran forward, not caring about the darkness or the rough ground. "Min-jun," she reached him and grabbed him into a huge hug, lifting him off his feet even though he was almost as tall as she was now. "Oh, thank God you're safe." She was crying hard, her whole body shaking. Min-jun hugged her back just as tight. He breathed in her familiar smell of her lavender shampoo and felt truly safe for the first time since morning. His father reached them and wrapped his arms around both of them. "My boy," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "We were so worried, even Ji-won was crying." She stood back a little, but her face was red and her eyes were wet. "You're such an idiot," she said, but her voice was full of love. "Don't ever do that again." One of the park rangers approached with a medical kit. "Let me check him over," she said kindly. "Make sure he's not hurt anywhere." Min-jun's mother reluctantly let go. The ranger shined a light in his eyes, checked his arms and legs, asked him questions about how he felt. "He seems fine," she announced. "Just tired and probably hungry. But no injuries. He's a lucky kid." "He's a smart kid," Cena corrected, stepping forward. "He did everything right." That was when Min-jun's family finally noticed who was standing there. Their eyes went wide with shock. "Is that—" Min-jun's father started. "John Cena," Ji-won finished, her mouth hanging open. "Yes, ma'am," Cena said, reaching out to shake their hands. "I found your son about 40 minutes ago. He was sending an SOS signal with his phone flashlight. I saw it from the ridge and came to investigate." Min-jun's mother looked at Cena, then at Min-jun, then back at Cena. "You, John Cena, found our son?" "He sure did," one of the rangers said with a grin. "Called it in and everything. Gave us perfect GPS coordinates." "I don't know how to thank you," Min-jun's father said. His hand was still gripping Cena's in the handshake like he was afraid to let go. The walk back through the forest took nearly an hour. The rangers used powerful flashlights to light the path, but it was still dark and difficult. Tree roots reached across the trail like fingers trying to trip them. Rocks appeared suddenly in the light, and everyone had to step carefully. Min-jun was tired. His legs hurt from all the walking he had done that day. But he kept going, determined to make it back on his own power. His mother held his hand tightly, as if afraid he might disappear again if she let go. "Watch your step here," one of the rangers called back. "The path gets rocky." They all slowed down, placing their feet carefully. John Cena walked right behind Min-jun's family, ready to catch anyone who might stumble. His presence made everyone feel safer. "So Min-jun," Cena said as they walked, "your sister told me you're 12. Is that right?" "Yes," Min-jun replied, looking back. "I turned 12 yesterday. This camping trip was supposed to be my birthday celebration." Cena laughed softly. "Well, it definitely turned into a birthday you'll never forget. Not many people can say John Cena rescued them on their birthday." Ji-won, walking next to them now, spoke up. "Nobody at school is going to believe this. They're going to think we made it up." "I can write a note if you want," Cena offered with a grin. "To whom it may concern, I really did rescue Min-jun Park in the woods. Signed, John Cena." Even Min-jun's father laughed at that. Some of the tension from the scary day was starting to ease. Everyone was beginning to feel the relief of having Min-jun back safe. They walked in silence for a while, the only sounds being their footsteps and breathing. The forest at night was both beautiful and a little spooky. The rangers' lights created moving shadows that danced between the trees. Stars shone bright overhead whenever they passed through clearings. "Can I ask you something?" Min-jun said, looking up at Cena. "Of course. When you saw my signal, weren't you tired? You said you've been hiking for days. Didn't you want to just ignore it and keep going to wherever you were camping?" Cena stopped walking for a moment, causing everyone else to slow down too. He looked at Min-jun seriously. "That's a good question. And honestly, yes, I was tired. My legs were sore. My backpack felt heavy. I had been climbing steep trails all day. So why did you come?" Min-jun asked. "Because someone needed help," Cena said simply. "When you see someone in trouble and you have the ability to help them, you help. It doesn't matter if you're tired. It doesn't matter if it's inconvenient. You help because it's the right thing to do." Min-jun's mother wiped her eyes. She looked at Cena with deep gratitude. "Thank you," she said, "for being that kind of person." Cena smiled gently. Anyone would have done the same. "Not everyone," Min-jun's father said quietly. "Not everyone would have walked toward a mysterious light in the dark woods. Not everyone would have helped a stranger. You did something special tonight." They continued walking. The path started going downhill, which meant they were getting close to the main trail. Min-jun could hear water running somewhere nearby. "A stream or creek, Min-jun," Cena said. "I want to teach you something while we walk. Something important." "Okay," Min-jun said, interested. "You felt scared today, right?" "Very scared. But you didn't let the fear control you. You felt it, but you also thought clearly. That's a skill that takes practice. Most adults can't even do it. Want to know how to get better at it?" Min-jun nodded eagerly. "It's all about breathing," Cena explained. "When you get scared or panicked, your body goes into what we call fight or flight mode. Your heart beats faster. Your breathing gets quick and shallow. Your brain starts to shut down the thinking parts and just focuses on danger." "That's what happened to me," Min-jun said. "When I realized I was lost, my chest got really tight." "Exactly," Cena said. "That's your body's alarm system. It's trying to protect you. But sometimes the alarm goes off when you don't really need it. You need to know how to turn it down." "How?" Min-jun asked. "Breathing technique. I'll teach you. It's called box breathing. You breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds. Then repeat. It tells your body that you're safe. It calms down your nervous system." As they walked, Cena guided Min-jun through the breathing exercise. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. They did it together several times. "This works before tests at school?" Min-jun asked. "It works for everything," Cena assured him. "Before tests, before speaking in front of class, before trying something new. Anytime you feel that panic rising up, you do this breathing. I do it before every wrestling match. Before every movie scene. It's one of the most useful things I ever learned." Min-jun practiced it a few more times as they walked. He could feel the difference it made. His body felt calmer. His mind felt clearer. This was something he could actually use. "Thank you for teaching me that," Min-jun said sincerely. "You're welcome. But remember, knowing the technique isn't enough. You have to practice it. Do it every day, even when you're not scared. Then when you really need it, your body will remember how." Ji-won had been listening to everything. "Can you teach me too?" she asked, surprising everyone. She usually acted like she did not care about anything. "Sure," Cena said warmly. "Everyone can benefit from learning to manage stress better." He taught Ji-won the same breathing pattern. She practiced it as they walked, her face serious and focused. Min-jun felt closer to his sister in that moment than he had in years. The path leveled out and widened. They were on the main trail now, the one marked with blue signs. Min-jun recognized it from that morning, though it looked completely different in the darkness. "Not much farther," the lead ranger called back. "Maybe 15 more minutes." Min-jun's father spoke up. "Mr. Cena, are you camping near our site? Can we offer you dinner or something? It's the least we can do." "That's very kind," Cena said. "But I should get back to my own camp. I have a long hike planned for tomorrow morning." "Will you stay just for a little while?" Min-jun asked. "Please." Cena looked at the boy's hopeful face and smiled. "Okay, I can stay for a little while. But then I really do need to get back." They emerged from the forest into the camping area. Other families had been alerted about the lost child, and many people were waiting. When they saw Min-jun walking safely with his family, a cheer went up. People clapped and called out congratulations. Min-jun felt embarrassed by all the attention, but also touched that strangers cared. Several people came up to hug his parents and tell them how happy they were that everything turned out okay. One older man shook Minjun's hand. "Smart thinking with that SOS signal, young man. You kept your head. That's impressive." Back at their campsite, Minjun's mother immediately started making food. She heated up soup on the camping stove and made sandwiches. "Everyone needs to eat," she insisted. Especially Minjun. Minjun realized he was starving. He ate 2 sandwiches and a whole bowl of soup. It was the best meal he had ever tasted. Cena sat with them, accepting a sandwich and a bottle of water. The family sat around their campfire, which Minjun's father had restarted. The flames danced and crackled, providing warmth and light. Minjun sat close to the fire, finally feeling safe and warm. "Tell us what happened," his father said gently. "From the beginning. We want to understand." Minjun told them everything. How he had stopped to look at rocks. How he had not noticed them walking ahead. How he had come to the fork in the trail and chosen wrong. How he had walked and walked, getting more lost. How he had remembered to stay in one place. How he had used his phone to send the SOS signal. His parents listened without interrupting. When he finished, his mother had tears in her eyes again. "I'm so sorry," she said. "We should have been watching you more carefully." "It's not your fault," Minjun said. "I'm the one who wasn't paying attention. I should have stayed close to the group." "We all learned something today," Cena said wisely. "When hiking with a group, everyone needs to stay together. Someone should be at the back making sure nobody falls behind, and everyone should agree on what to do if someone gets separated." "You're right," Minjun's father said. "We were not prepared enough. We just thought it would be a simple walk." "Nature doesn't care what you thought it would be," Cena said. "Nature is always unpredictable, but that's also what makes it beautiful. The key is to respect it and prepare for it." They talked more about survival skills and safety. Cena shared stories from his training, about times he had been challenged by nature and how he had handled it. He talked about the importance of staying calm, making smart choices, and never giving up. Minjun listened carefully to every word. He felt like he was learning from a teacher, but one who really understood fear and courage, because he had experienced both. Jiwon had been quiet for a while, but now she spoke. "Minjun, I'm sorry I always tease you about being scared. That was mean. You were braver today than I would have been." Minjun looked at his sister in surprise. She never apologized, never admitted she was wrong. "Thanks, Jiwon," he said softly. She reached over and squeezed his hand. "We're good?" "We're good," Minjun confirmed. The fire crackled between them. The night air was cool but comfortable. Stars filled the sky above, and for the first time all day, Minjun felt completely at peace. Cena stood up and stretched. "I really should get going. I have a 2-mile hike back to my camp." Minjun stood at the edge of the campsite, watching the spot where John Cena had disappeared into the darkness. He still held the compass tightly in his hand, running his thumb over the smooth glass surface. The glow-in-the-dark markings shone softly in the night. "Come sit down, honey," his mother said gently. "You must be exhausted." She was right. Now that the adrenaline was fading, Minjun felt the weight of the entire day settling onto his shoulders. His legs ached. His head felt fuzzy. He was more tired than he had ever been in his life. He sat down on one of the camping chairs near the fire. His mother wrapped a blanket around his shoulders, even though he was not really cold anymore. It felt good anyway, safe and comforting. "I still can't believe that happened," Jiwon said, staring at her phone. She had been looking at the selfie they took with Cena over and over. John Cena found my little brother in the woods. "The statistical probability of that is incredible," Minjun's father said, shaking his head. "Of all the people who could have been hiking in these mountains today, a famous celebrity happened to be close enough to see your signal." "Lucky," Minjun's mother said. "We were so lucky, but Minjun did not think it was just luck. Yes, it was lucky that Cena had been nearby. But Minjun had also made the right choices. He had stayed calm. He had used his phone wisely. He had sent the SOS signal. If he had panicked and kept running through the woods, Cena never would have found him. "It wasn't just luck," Minjun said quietly. "Cena said I did everything right." That mattered too. His father looked at him with pride in his eyes. "You're absolutely right, son. You saved yourself. Cena just happened to be the one who saw your signal, but the signal was your idea. The smart thinking was yours." Minjun felt warmth spread through his chest that had nothing to do with the fire or the blanket. His father was proud of him. Really proud. They sat around the campfire for a while longer talking about the day. Minjun told them more details about his experience. How scared he had been at different moments. How he had almost given up hope right before Cena appeared. How the breathing technique had helped him stay calmer. I want to learn that breathing thing too, Minjun's mother said. It sounds useful. Minjun taught his parents the box breathing technique that Cena had shown him. They all practiced together by the firelight. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. It felt good to share something useful with his family. This is actually really relaxing, his father said, surprised. I could use this at work when I'm stressed. They heard footsteps approaching and looked up to see a park ranger walking toward their campsite. It was the same woman who had checked Minjun for injuries earlier. She carried a clipboard and had a kind smile. I'm sorry to bother you, she said, but I need to fill out an official report about what happened today. It's standard procedure for any rescue operation. Is that okay? Of course, Minjun's father said, gesturing to an empty chair. Please sit down. The ranger sat and pulled out some forms. She asked Minjun questions about exactly what had happened. What time did he realize he was lost? Which trail had he been on? How long did he wait before starting the SOS signal? Had he been injured at any point? Minjun answered all the questions as clearly as he could. His parents added details when needed. The ranger wrote everything down carefully. I have to say, the ranger commented as she wrote, You made excellent decisions today, Minjun. We see a lot of lost hikers and many of them make their situations worse by panicking. You did the opposite. You stayed calm and used your resources wisely. He watched survival videos online, his mother explained. I thought it was just entertainment, but apparently he was actually learning. The ranger smiled. Those videos saved his life today. And the SOS signal? That was brilliant. Most kids your age wouldn't know how to do that. I almost forgot the pattern, Minjun admitted. I had to think really hard to remember it. But you did remember, the ranger pointed out. When it mattered most, you remembered. That's what counts. She finished filling out the forms and stood up. The good news is that everyone is safe and there's no serious damage. No injuries, no property damage, nothing like that. But I do want to give you some recommendations for future hikes. Please, Minjun's father said. We want to learn from this. The ranger pulled out a pamphlet from her pocket and handed it to them. This covers basic hiking safety for families. Some key points: always hike with a buddy system. The group should agree on what to do if separated. Everyone should carry a whistle for signaling. If possible, everyone should have a basic emergency kit. And most importantly, adults should do regular head counts to make sure nobody falls behind. We should have been doing all of that, Minjun's mother said, looking guilty. Most families don't, the ranger said kindly. They think easy trails are safe, so they don't prepare properly. But even easy trails can be dangerous if something goes wrong. The lesson isn't to feel bad about what you didn't do. The lesson is to be better prepared next time. She wished them good night and walked away into the darkness, her flashlight bobbing as she went. Minjun's father looked at the pamphlet, then at his family. I think we need to talk about whether we want to keep camping or go home in the morning. I want to stay, Minjun said immediately, surprising everyone. I don't want to leave early. His mother looked concerned. Are you sure? After everything that happened today? We would all understand if you wanted to go home. I'm sure, Minjun said firmly. If we leave now, I'll always remember this trip as the scary time I got lost. But if we stay and have a good day tomorrow, then I'll remember it as the time I got lost but also learned important things and met John Cena. Jiwon nodded. He's right. We should stay. Otherwise it's like letting the fear win. Minjun's father smiled. When did you two get so wise? Okay, we stay. But tomorrow we follow all the safety rules. Nobody walks alone. We stay close together. We check in with each other constantly. Deal? Deal, everyone agreed. They sat around the fire a while longer, but exhaustion was catching up with all of them. It had been the longest, most stressful day. Minjun could barely keep his eyes open. Time for bed, his mother announced. We all need sleep. They put out the campfire carefully, making sure every ember was dead. Minjun's father checked that all their food was locked in the car. Then they headed to their tents. Inside the tent, Minjun changed into his pajamas and climbed into his sleeping bag. Jiwon was already in hers, lying on her back and staring at the tent ceiling. Minjun, she said quietly. Yeah? I was really scared today. When Mom and Dad realized you were missing, I've never seen them so worried. And I was worried too. I know I give you a hard time, but you're my little brother. I don't want anything bad to happen to you. Minjun felt a lump in his throat. I was really scared too. I kept thinking I might never see you guys again. But you didn't panic, Ji-won said. You stayed smart. That's pretty cool, actually. Most people couldn't do that. Cena said fear is normal, Minjun said. He said brave people aren't the ones who never feel scared. They're the ones who feel scared but do what they need to do anyway. That's actually good advice, Ji-won admitted. Maybe I should stop pretending I'm never scared of anything. Are you scared of stuff? Minjun asked, surprised. Of course I am, Ji-won said. I'm scared of not being good enough. Of failing. Of people not liking me. I just hide it better than you do. This was the most honest conversation Minjun had ever had with his sister. It felt important, real. Cena taught me this breathing thing, Minjun said, for when you feel scared or anxious. Want me to teach you? You already taught me by the fire, Ji-won reminded him. But yeah, let's practice it again, together. They practiced the box breathing in the darkness of the tent. Minjun counted out loud. 4 in, hold 4, 4 out, hold 4. Ji-won breathed along with him. They did it 5 times together. That does help, Ji-won said. Thanks, little brother. You're welcome, big sister. They were quiet for a moment and then Ji-won spoke again. Do you really have John Cena's compass? Yeah, Minjun said. He pulled it out from under his pillow where he had tucked it. Even in the darkness, the glow-in-the-dark markings were visible, a soft green light. That's so cool, Ji-won said. That compass probably cost a lot of money. And it was his personal one that he used on real hikes. You have to take care of it. I will, Minjun promised. I'm going to keep it forever. He held the compass close to his chest and closed his eyes. His body ached from the long day. His mind was tired from all the emotions. But he felt something else too. Something new. Pride, confidence. The knowledge that he could handle difficult situations. Today had been the scariest day of his life. But he had survived it. He had made good choices. He had kept his head. And he had even learned important lessons from an unexpected hero. Minjun drifted off to sleep with the compass held tight in his hand, a smile on his face. Tomorrow would be a better day. He was sure of it. Outside the tent, the mountain night continued around them. Stars shone bright in the clear sky. The lake reflected moonlight like a mirror. Other families slept peacefully in their tents. The forest breathed and lived, full of mystery and beauty. 6 months had passed since that night in the mountains. Winter had come and gone, and now it was spring. Minjun stood in front of his middle school classroom, holding a poster board and feeling his heart beat fast in his chest. He was about to give a presentation to his entire class. He took a deep breath. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. The breathing technique that John Cena had taught him. It helped like it always did. His racing heart slowed down a little. His mind cleared. Whenever you're ready, Minjun, his teacher said with an encouraging smile. Minjun looked out at his classmates. Some were paying attention. Others were looking at their desks or whispering to friends. That was okay. He was not doing this for them exactly. He was doing it because it mattered to him. My presentation is about survival skills and safety in nature, Minjun began. His voice only shook a little. 6 months ago, I got lost on a hiking trip with my family. What I'm going to share today are the lessons I learned from that experience. Now everyone was paying attention. Getting lost in the woods was much more interesting than math or history. Minjun told his story. He explained how he had gotten separated from his family, how he had walked the wrong way and gotten more lost, how he had remembered to stay in one place instead of wandering, how he had used his phone to send an SOS signal. He showed them the SOS pattern. 3 short flashes, 3 long flashes, 3 short flashes. This is an international distress signal, he explained. People all over the world recognize it. You can use it with a flashlight, a phone, a mirror in the sunlight. Anything that makes light or sound. The class practiced. The pattern with their fingers on their desks. Tap, 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 the tap, 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 tap. Even his teacher practiced it. The most important thing I learned, Minjun continued, is that staying calm is the first survival skill. When you panic, you make bad choices. When you stay calm, you can think clearly and remember what you know. He taught them the box breathing technique. The whole class breathed together following his count. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. When they finished, several kids said they felt more relaxed. That's actually cool, said Marcus, one of the popular kids who usually did not talk to Minjun. I get nervous before basketball games. I'm going to try that. Minjun felt pride swell in his chest. He was helping people, teaching them something useful. He showed them his poster board, which had photos from that night. His family had taken pictures at the campsite after he was rescued. There was one of Minjun holding the emergency blanket that Cena had given him, one of the whole family around the campfire, and one photo that made everyone gasp. It was the selfie with John Cena. No way, someone said. That's fake. It's not fake, Jiwon's voice came from the back of the classroom. She had been allowed to sit in for the presentation since she was part of the story. I took that picture. John Cena found my brother in the woods and saved him. The room erupted in excited chatter. Everyone wanted to know more. Was Cena nice? What did he say? Was he as big in person as he looked on TV? Minjun answered their questions patiently. He explained that Cena had been training for a movie role, that he had seen the SOS signal from a ridge, that he had hiked down to help even though he was tired from days of training. He told me that when you see someone in trouble and you can help, you help. Minjun said, it doesn't matter if it's convenient. You help because it's the right thing to do. The classroom was completely silent now. Even the kids who never paid attention were listening. Before he left, Mr. Cena gave me this. Minjun pulled out the compass from his pocket. It was attached to a chain around his neck now, so he would never lose it. He said every smart hiker needs a good compass. This compass is my reminder to always be prepared, to learn skills before I need them, to stay calm when things go wrong. Minjun's teacher started clapping and soon the whole class joined in. Minjun felt his cheeks turn red, but he also felt proud. He had done it. He had given a presentation in front of the whole class without completely falling apart. After school, Minjun walked to the community center where he volunteered every week. He had started this 3 months ago, after taking a junior ranger course at a local nature center. The course had taught him even more about survival skills, first aid, and nature safety. Now he volunteered to teach younger kids about being safe outdoors. It was his way of passing forward what he had learned. Today's group was a class of third graders about 8 and 9 years old. They bounced into the room full of energy and excitement. Their teacher, Mrs. Rodriguez, tried to get them to sit down quietly, but kids that age had trouble sitting still. Good afternoon, everyone, Minjun said in a clear voice. He was not scared of speaking to kids anymore. He had done this enough times now that it felt natural. Who here likes to go outside and explore nature? Every hand shot up. That's great. Nature is amazing, but it can also be dangerous if we're not careful. Today I'm going to teach you how to stay safe when you're outside. He showed them photos of different situations. A hiker on a trail, a family camping, kids playing near a creek. For each photo, he asked what safety rules they should follow. The kids had good ideas. Stay with your group. Tell an adult where you're going. Don't drink water from streams without permission. Watch out for poison ivy. Don't pet wild animals. All excellent rules, Minjun said. Now I want to teach you the most important rule of all. If you ever get separated from your family and can't find your way back, what should you do? A little girl with pigtails raised her hand. Call for help? That's a good idea, but what if your phone doesn't work? What if you don't have a phone? A boy in a superhero t-shirt said, look for people to help you. Good, but what if there are no people around? What if you're alone? The kids looked confused. They did not know the answer. You stay in one place, Minjun explained. You find a spot where you can be seen and you wait there. Don't keep walking around because that makes it harder for people to find you. This is called the STOP method. Stop, think, observe, plan. He taught them the method step by step. If you realize you're lost, stop walking. Don't panic. Think about what you know. Observe your surroundings. Make a plan to stay safe until help arrives. Then he taught them the SOS signal, just like he had taught his classmates. The kids loved it. They practiced with their hands, with imaginary flashlights, with anything they could use to make the pattern. One small boy raised his hand. He looked nervous and his voice was quiet when he spoke. I get scared sometimes. Of the dark and stuff. Is that bad? Minjun knelt down so he was at the boy's eye level. This kid reminded him of himself 6 months ago. Scared and worried and not sure if it was okay to feel that way. Being scared is not bad, Minjun said gently. Being scared is normal. I get scared too, all the time. The important thing is learning how to be scared but still do what you need to do. Want to learn a trick that helps? The boy nodded. Minjun taught him and the other kids the box breathing technique. They all practiced together, breathing in rhythm. When they finished, the small boy smiled. That feels better, he said. You can do that anytime you feel scared or worried, Minjun told him. Before bed, before a test, anytime. It tells your body that you're safe. After the class ended, Mrs. Rodriguez came up to Minjun. That was wonderful, she said. The kids really connected with you. I think it's because you're not too much older than them. They see themselves in you. Minjun felt proud again. A few months ago, he would have been too shy to teach a class of kids. Now he was good at it. He had found something he cared about and gotten better through practice. He walked home as the sun began to set. The spring air was warm and smelled like flowers. Birds sang in the trees. It was a perfect evening. When he got home, he found his family in the living room. His father was reading the newspaper. His mother was working on her laptop. Jiwon was doing homework while listening to music through her headphones. How was the presentation? His mother asked immediately. She always wanted to know about his day. It went really well, Minjun said. Everyone was really interested. And the volunteer teaching after school was good too. I'm proud of you, his father said, putting down his newspaper. You've really grown this year, Minjun. You're more confident, more sure of yourself. Thanks, Dad, Minjun said. I think getting lost was actually good for me. I know that sounds weird. It doesn't sound weird, Jiwon said, pulling off her headphones. Bad experiences can teach us important things. You learned you're braver than you thought, and tougher, and smarter. Minjun smiled at his sister. They had gotten much closer since that camping trip. She still teased him sometimes, but now it was in a friendly way, not a mean way, and she actually listened when he talked about things that mattered to him. Oh, I almost forgot, his mother said. Something came in the mail for you today. She handed him a large envelope. Minjun looked at the return address and his heart skipped a beat. It was from a production company in Los Angeles. He tore open the envelope carefully. Inside was a letter and a photograph. The photo showed John Cena on a movie set, dressed in military gear and holding a rifle. He was smiling at the camera. Across the bottom, he had written a message in silver marker. To Minjun, the bravest kid I know. Stay smart, stay prepared, stay awesome. Your friend, John Cena. Minjun's hand shook as he read the letter. Dear Minjun, I hope this letter finds you well. I wanted to reach out and see how you're doing since our adventure in the mountains. I've been thinking about you and wondering if you're still practicing that breathing technique I taught you. I've been using the compass you gave me. Just kidding. I know I gave it to you. I hope you're taking good care of it. I'm currently filming the movie I was training for when we met. Every time I do a survival scene, I think about how you stayed calm and made smart choices that night. You really did everything right. I heard from the park rangers that you've been taking junior ranger courses and teaching other kids about safety. That's incredible. I'm so proud of you for taking your experience and using it to help others. That's what real heroes do. They don't just survive difficult situations. They learn from them and then teach others. Keep being brave, Minjun. Keep learning new things. Keep helping people. And remember, being scared is okay. It's what you do with the fear that matters. Stay strong, your friend, John Cena. Minjun read the letter 3 times. He could barely believe it. John Cena had taken the time to write to him. To check on him. To tell him he was proud. What does it say? Jiwon asked, trying to peek over his shoulder. Minjun handed her the letter. While she read it, he looked at the signed photo again. The bravest kid I know. Coming from someone like John Cena, that meant everything. His parents read the letter too, and his mother got teary-eyed. That's so kind of him, she said. He didn't have to do this, but he took the time to write to you and encourage you. He's a good person, Minjun said simply. That's what good people do. They help and they encourage and they take time for others. That night, Minjun sat at his desk and wrote a response letter. He told Cena about his junior ranger training, about teaching kids safety skills, about how he practiced the breathing technique every day, about how he carried the compass everywhere as a reminder to stay prepared. He thanked Cena for finding him that night, for staying calm, for teaching him important lessons, for giving him the compass, for writing this letter. You changed my life, Minjun wrote. I used to be scared all the time and I thought that made me weak. But you taught me that feeling scared is okay. It's normal. What matters is staying calm and making smart choices anyway. I'm not scared as much anymore. And when I am scared, I know how to handle it. Thank you for being my unexpected hero. I hope someday I can help someone the way you helped me. Your friend, Min-jun. He sealed the letter in an envelope and addressed it to the production company. Tomorrow he would mail it. Min-jun got ready for bed, brushing his teeth and putting on his pajamas. Before he climbed into bed, he picked up the compass from his desk and held it in his hands. The glow-in-the-dark markings shone softly in the darkness of his room. He thought about that night 6 months ago. How scared he had been. How alone he had felt. How he had stood on that rock in the clearing, flashing his phone light into the darkness, hoping someone would see. And someone had seen. Someone had come. Someone had helped. But more than that, Min-jun had helped himself. He had made the right choices. He had stayed calm. He had used what he knew. He had survived. That experience had changed him. He was not the same nervous 12-year-old who had left on that camping trip. He was 13 now, and he was different, stronger, braver, more confident. He still felt scared sometimes. Before presentations at school, when trying new things, in the dark sometimes. But now he knew that was okay. Everyone felt scared. The difference was knowing what to do with the fear. Min-jun set the compass on his nightstand where he could see it. Next to it, he placed the signed photo of John Cena. These were his reminders. His inspiration. His proof that scary moments could become turning points. He climbed into bed and turned off the light. In the darkness, he could still see the soft glow of the compass markings. North, south, east, west. All directions. All possibilities. Min-jun closed his eyes and took a deep breath. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. His body relaxed. His mind quieted. Tomorrow he had another volunteer teaching session. Next week he was leading a nature hike for younger students. Next month his family was planning another camping trip. But this time they would all be prepared with proper equipment and safety plans. Life was full of adventures ahead. Some might be scary, some might be difficult. But Min-jun knew he could handle them. He had the tools. He had the knowledge. He had the confidence. Most importantly, he had learned the greatest lesson of all, that being brave did not mean never feeling afraid. Being brave meant feeling afraid but doing what needed to be done anyway. As Min-jun drifted off to sleep, he smiled. That night in the mountains, lost and scared in the darkness, he had sent out a signal for help. And help had come in the most unexpected form. But the real rescue had not just been John Cena finding him. The real rescue had been Min-jun finding himself. Finding his strength, finding his courage, finding his purpose. He was not just the kid who got lost in the woods anymore. He was the kid who stayed calm under pressure, who used his knowledge to survive, who took his experience and turned it into something positive by teaching others. He was the kid with John Cena's compass, carrying lessons about preparation and courage wherever he went. He was Min-jun Park, and he was going to be okay. More than okay. He was going to help other people be okay too. And that was the best ending of all.